As always, I'm your host, Robert Alexander. Alongside me is El Capitan Lucas.
Ready to get all my little gifts I'm gonna get because I've been good all year long for Santa.
Bullshit.
Lucas, what do you
Lucas
think?
called bullshit on that one. Okay.
I don't know
Um,
why he would say that.
speaking of gifts, y'all, we really had a gift this past weekend. We had two fight cards on DAZN. Two big superstars in the sport. First off was Gennady Golovkin, or
Triple G look good. Triple G looked good, and he was supposed to though, but I didn't see a lot of action or opposition from his opponent either to be nice about the situation.
so we definitely are going to touch on upon that. But Lucas kind of sighed when I asked the question. I think he has a little bit of opinion. Lucas, going into it, we were talking about the promotion, right?
Yeah.
And, and it seemed like they did try to promote the app within the app itself. How do you feel about how they went about how DAZN went about these two cards?
I mean, advertising within the app itself is stupid. You think you're making any progress? No. You got to reach out to other people. That would be like only, a Showtime fight, you're only promoting for Showtime. You're only going to get the people that are already subscribed to Showtime anyway. I mean, yeah, you do have to still apply to them. You still need their view. But don't you want to reach a broader audience and get in, some new subscribers for the network? I don't know. I mean, it didn't make any sense to me. But
I
So
mean,
here's the weird thing. Sorry, Shakira. Here's the weird thing, though. Unbeknownst to me, unbeknownst to probably a lot of people, somehow, some way, they were offering this card, well, the Canelo card, the Canelo part. They were offering the Canelo card to people that are on regular cable subscriptions
mhm.
because there was a big banner in the middle of the show where they were saying, "Hey, if you purchased this event due to your cable subscription, you get 4 months of DAZN for free going into the new year." I don't even know. I didn't even know that was going on.
me either.
Yeah, if I'd known, I would have canceled mine so I could be a part of that. I guess it wasn't for us to know, but us as in regular boxing fans that super boxing fans rather that were already plugged in with the zone. But I have to agree with Lucas in the fact that they have to do a better job of getting the word out that there is even fights going on because guys, that the fight was actually here in Florida. Like the location was the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood,
In
Florida.
Hollywood.
Yeah, I had no idea till I'm actually watching Triple G and I'm noticing, wait a minute, this is my referee friend, Chris Young. And he's refereeing this fight. I'm like, what the heck? He refereed the ladies' fights with Choi. So I was like, well, how can he be doing this? Is this fight in Florida? So, it's like that's real bad when you got a super fan and you don't realize that the fight is actually even in your state. So that was kind of like bizarre to watch. So that just goes to show that there's not a lot of marketing even in the local market. You know what I'm saying? For wherever the fight is going to be.
I think they were just thinking, this is a Canelo fight. It'll promote itself, and that's not always the case. I mean, you still got to do some work.
I mean, well, the Canelo fight, that was out in Texas, but I'm talking about the Triple G fight.
And that's true, too.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
And
I
even
feel like
even
they're
Triple
making a
G,
big
though, you think it's still one of the bigger names, and hopefully, it kind of sells itself. But He's not a big as name as Canelo and what some other people make him out to be. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Golovkin tried pay per view and it didn't work for a reason. So you definitely still got to sell him.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So let's kind of go into that then first. Let's go into the Triple G fight. Um, what are your guys' thought on the fight and on the outcome of the fight? Because the commentators, now I know a lot of us, us here on the show, we like to listen without the commentators. There's a reason for that. They sometimes show a lot of bias. The commentators all night was like, he's back. Triple G is back. He performed the greatest that he could perform. He's back on a high level. And Shakur, you actually touched on this. The opponent he had was not up to par. What is your actual take on the Triple G performance um, that on Friday night?
Ah, oh my goodness! Like I said, I just felt like it was a keep busy type of fight where Triple G needed to get that work in before the end of the year. Possibly it was a cross marketing attempt to build up this Triple G and Canelo fight. His opponent, which I'm so sorry that I've forgotten his name at this point, but um, the opponent, it just seemed like he was just tailor made for him to be for Triple G to be able to, try some things on, and make sure that all his punches, his punches were good and stuff like that. But yeah, as you were saying, the zone's commentating, it favored Triple G, of course. Um, everybody has allegiances to whomever this cutting them that check. So I can't fault them for doing what they were hired to do. I can just say as a fan, it's our job to kind of like look at the opponent's record, see what the B side has been up to. This guy apparently he had a spotless record, you know what I'm saying? But I guess we come to find out that all of those fights that he had were probably not competitive fights for him to have been stepping in the ring with someone of Triple G's caliber.
Yeah, no, I mean, you did say earlier, I do have to call you out, Shakur. You did say Triple G looked good.
I did for because I wasn't expecting him to be in a war or anything. I just thought that he needed to like keep you know do what he needed to do to just keep in shape and keep busy. So I did think he looked good for the
Um,
situation.
I
I
mean,
mean,
we don't
there's
know how good Zermeta is though, or Scizormeta. I don't know how to say that name. I'm gonna butcher it, I'm sure. But we don't know how good he is. I mean, who knows? He can go on and still be champ. Maybe it was a little bit harder than what Golovkin thought it was to get him out of there. There's a lot of unknowns in that one because he is highly unknown, and I guarantee you, a lot of people have not seen him or heard of him before.
right. I mean, but they felt comfortable enough for him to be in the fight with Triple G that night
Hmm.
and feel like they could still talk up a fight with Canelo. So I'm assuming that they brought him in for the purpose of, Triple G just, getting that work in, possibly getting a KO. But the European boxers right now, they ain't playing. Like they some tough cookies to crack. So I mean, for me, if you're a European fighter and you're coming in to the states and you're fighting an elite fighter, they must at least feel that you can hold your own in that situation. So I'm not trying to downplay his value and what he brought to the table. I'm just saying that a lot of times people be having these padded records and they haven't lost anything, but when you look below the surface and you finding out things about that opponent that it's kind of like, well, what weight class did he begin his career at? How low was he, or how light was he? How who was these opponents that he fought? So it's more to go into it than just what we see on the surface with these records per se.
Hmm.
No, I feel like you're giving him too much respect.
Who?
Triple G.
Oh, I thought you
and
said
his
I was talking about
opponents
the opponent.
and his opponent. I feel like you're giving them both too much respect. Look,
What are you doing?
I watched the fights with what you consider novice boxing fans. They only want to see the big names. They
Right.
only come to see the blood, sweat, and tears. They really don't want to see a good tactical fight. And they only know a few of the names out there right now in boxing. Triple G happens to be one of them. Okay, and the only thing that the person that I was watching the fight could say is why isn't he taking him out? Why is it taking this long for him to take him out?
It's easier said than done. Now
Why?
you sounded like a
No,
common
it's not
saying some
easy.
shit like that. You're saying some shit like that. Come on, man. You
Okay,
know damn
hold on. Let me
sure
defend myself. Go ahead. Go
that
ahead. Luke.
that some dudes have jaws. I mean, it's not easy to get some people out of there. Just because you're landed, don't mean that you can get them out. Guys like Brandon Rios, Golovkin himself has an iron jaw. I mean, you can't just say, oh, well, he got to get him out of there. No, we've talked about this, Rob. This is boxing. You can't always knock everybody out. Some people don't have that switch in their head to knock them out.
Yeah.
So that being said, the issue here is that Triple G is known for that, and he's known for that with tough ass fighters, getting them out within 4 rounds or less. So for him to come up to a fight like this, and that's my biggest question to y'all. That's my biggest question with Triple G. Did you see something that he was trying or doing that was so much more better or tactical than what he ever did before? Because my answer is no. He's just older, slower, and he couldn't get him out in the timely fashion that we're used to seeing him doing, which means he's a step below what he was.
Oh my God.
It was same old Triple G for me. I mean, I don't really see him missing much of a step, if any. It was a small step,
Lucas,
if at all.
He got Matthew Macklin to me was a way better opponent for Triple G, and he got him out of there quick.
You know what I feel? I feel you let these casual fans talk you into the fact that Triple G didn't do a good job. That's what it sounds like to me, Rob. And the point I'm trying to make to you is he had the guy hurt. But as you know, when you're dealing with former Soviet Union type countries and those fighters in there, they got good chins. You got, Provagnikov, he's from that area. Triple G himself is from that area. The Klitschko's, all Ukrainians. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are acting, and all of them got good chins. Like, this is not the Caucasians from, I don't know what century you're talking about, but these guys here, they know about hunger. They know about starving. They know about making sure, sharing beds with 5 people and all this kind of craziness stuff. These guys come into a fight and they're like, my goal is I'm going to survive this. And they know they got hellified chins. And he had, and to Triple G's point, he did have him hurt several times. So that just goes to show that Triple G does still have the power that he's known for. Now,
well, he knocked him down 4 times.
Like Lucas said, I'm not finished, Rob. Like Lucas said, everybody is not going to have the same type of chin. You're going in there and you're telling these casuals, it's your job as an aficionado to let these damn casual fans know, like, hey, everybody can't get knocked out. I don't know why y'all thinking this.
Right. And we don't have a measuring stick.
Yeah. Exactly.
We didn't have a measuring stick. Zermeta, we don't know nothing about Zermeta. I mean, he might have got hit with a truck and still not went down for all I know. I don't know. Maybe Golovkin's just that good that he was able to put him down 4 times. I mean, knocking him down still that many times is enough to say, hey, he didn't really miss a step. Now, if he didn't knock him down at all and he went to decision, man, I'd be worried with you. But that's not the case. We're not talking about that. I say it's the same.
You your job as an aficionado, and you need to tell these people, you educate them. You don't allow them to sway your opinion.
Yeah, step your host game up, son.
I'm gonna educate all of y'all. If Triple G can't knock this guy out in 4 rounds or less, he's old. He's done. He's done for. Period. This guy that he fought if all the best that you can do, Shakur, is go on part of the Eastern, Middle European background, like Lucas just said, this guy hasn't shown us that. He hasn't shown us the chin
That
and the
is
heart
not
of
what Lucas
charisma.
No,
said.
that
Lucas
is not what I
he
said. Don't be twisting my words. I
he
said you have no measuring stick. You're talking about
You
a person
don't.
and you're
You
putting
don't.
okay, you're putting Zermeta down. That could be a future champ. You don't know
Absolutely.
him. You don't know him.
Where?
He
No,
was
no.
21-0 until he ran into Golovkin. Golovkin is a great fighter. You cannot measure him off just this fight. We need more than that. And you judging this man off just Golovkin. And Golovkin, as you know, is a motherfucking monster.
Okay.
Was.
I'm with
Was
I'm
a
with Lucas.
monster.
And not
Was
only
a
that,
monster.
well, what I want to also tell you is that you can't say that a boxer isn't a certain caliber because you haven't seen it and us Americans haven't seen him. That doesn't mean that this person doesn't have any talent. It just means we didn't get introduced to him. He had no exposure to us. That's all that means. We got to look behind the record and investigate really well to see what happened in each of his fights to know. So I don't appreciate you. I mean, you know how many times there's boxers that we never heard of before, like Triple G, that end up coming to this country and are introduced to us, and we find out, damn, these guys really got, heart. These guys got talent, and where the hell has he been?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many fights was Triple G in before he hit the States and actually had a televised fight?
They show you that. They show you that. What did this guy show you in this fight? Somebody, please tell me. What did he show you in this fight?
He showed me that he didn't like Triple G's power. That's what he showed me. Because he stopped engaging after that first punch that he really felt. That's what it showed me. It showed me that he didn't like that power that he felt, and that he was in survival mode the entire fight. So I feel that he was not used to that type of power. I think that kind of like put him on defense, and it made him not be able to strategize and come up with his own game plan. Because when that power if you got real power, like they say Triple G does, that shit stuns you. Your mind is like, what the? I don't want to feel that no more. Like, that's what I saw in the opponent. So, go figure. I mean, you're saying it's lackluster. You're saying that it wasn't all that. I'm saying that Triple G did what he had to do. Triple G stayed busy. He got his fight in for 2020. Okay? Because Canelo wasn't going to get a fight in, and Triple G was, and Triple G didn't. That's what that was all about. He's like, oh, no, you're going to put me on the schedule for a day before Canelo.
He wants to be
get my work in.
Yeah, he wants to be right there when Canelo fights. That way he can be ready. They fought at the same time, so they're going to be available. If you need me, I'll be ready. And
find me somebody, because I'm on the schedule.
Right.
If Canelo's on the schedule, I'm on the schedule. You're talking about a man who went and signed with the Zone just because he wanted this super fight 3 with Canelo. So he's not going. He's honed in on this. Obviously, this is like what he wants to finish his career with, I believe. So he's gonna be honed in on everything Canelo do, and he was gonna get his fight in. That's what it is.
Right. Okay. Well, folks, if you know Golovkin and you followed him and you watched his career, look at his fights. Look at this fight. He's missing a step or two. He's missing a step or two.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Duran left a comment, Lucas.
Yeah. Where'd it go? Dahlia Duran says GGG's too powerful to mess around.
Was too powerful, Dahlia.
Man.
Too powerful. He's slower. He looked slower to me. He looked more methodical, and he looked like he looked a lesser of a Golovkin. I'm sorry, but all these people want to dress him up to be this Prince Charming of a boxer. He's not that anymore. And there's a reason.
Sometimes also you fight to the level of your competition too. I mean, maybe he did look a little lackluster, maybe, but we don't know because you don't know shit about Zermeta. So
And he didn't show us nothing. Let's be honest. He didn't show us nothing in that fight.
But maybe that was more Zermeta than him. That's my question. We don't know.
So that being said, let's move on to the greatest showing of the weekend. Canelo Alvarez.
Depending who you are, it might not be that great either.
Wow.
According to Lucas,
did you see the energy change, Lucas? Did you see his energy change?
Yeah.
When he wanted to start talking about Canelo? Okay, we ready.
So let's start here. The first question, guys. He was fighting a much bigger opponent. And this opponent was actually legit. He's a legit champion at that weight class.
Hold up. You gonna say actually legit. What makes him legit? Because he's a champ? Is that what makes him legit? He didn't beat a champ to get his title. What makes him legit to you? What makes him legit versus Zermeta? Just because he had a title, is that it?
He won a vacant title. I understand
a vacant title. He did not beat a champion. He did not beat a champion to get said title. Look, he's counterfeit too. Let's be honest, okay? His best win was George Groves. Other than that, he has not done shit on his resume. Nothing.
But that's what you say, sir. Zermeta didn't do that caliber of a fight in his whole entire career.
But you're attacking Zermeta. I'm just trying to say the same damn thing that you were saying earlier, okay? This is the same thing, Rob.
Don't be a hypocrite now. I give Callum Smith credit for that George Groves victory.
No.
I give him credit for that victory.
Really? I can't tell.
I'm doing it right now. What do you mean you can't tell? I'm giving him credit for that. Callum Smith was a legit champion at that weight class. He was a way better champion than Rocky Fielding ever was, okay?
Dahlia said, still, Robert, he doesn't need to act like a maniac.
Yeah. She's responding to your Triple G comment. Was when you said was.
But a maniac, okay. I don't know what you're referring to as far as a maniac in that aspect.
She's Triple G wanted him to go to war and just, topple the guy and get him out of there.
No, I want him to do what we expect him to do.
Look. Let's talk more about Canelo Smith now. We going backwards. Okay. So Canelo Smith, in all my years, have I never seen a worse game plan for a boxer going into the biggest fight of his life. He had no intention of winning. He did not want to win. He was in there to last the 12 rounds and get a paycheck. Let's all be honest.
So no,
brought that up, Lucas.
No, I feel like Canelo took it out of him. He took the fight out of him. It's not that he didn't have it in him to win. The man was throwing punches the whole 12 rounds.
Throwing punches is one thing, okay? Trying to win is another. You looking like you're making activity. No, there's a difference. Man, you are 6'3", fighting a dude who's 5'8". I counted 1, maybe 2 clinches that whole damn fight, okay?
No leaning on him.
You gotta use your size. If you're not gonna fight tall, at least use your size, lean on him, wear him out. Make it physical. He did nothing. In fact, Caleb Smith, and I've never seen this before in any fight ever, especially from somebody who's losing badly. I think it was the 9th round, okay? Caleb Smith's against the ropes, getting the crap beat out of him. He circles away to freedom, to open ring, and puts himself back against the ropes. Why in the hell would you do that? Either you have the worst coaches and trainers in the history of boxing, or you don't really care about winning, period.
I was like, what the hell is he doing? He been on these ropes all night like he don't know that he need to stay his ass in the center of the ring, and his training team sucked. They didn't have no urgency on him. They didn't say, hey, man, stay your ass off the ropes.
Yeah, like they already knew what the deal was. Like, oh, you gonna get that check. It don't matter.
Yeah,
you gonna pay me, right? You gonna pay me for this.
Go, Callum. Go, Callum. Yeah, get him. That's all it was. But listen.
He gave that generic ass, his trainers gave that generic ass advice like on that Contender show. Bend your knees. You be all right. Just bend your knees.
I was so like it was a mess. Like that was really bad training team. That really was. I don't know who he paid, but
Is
my thing is everybody was in on it obviously because I'm looking. They kept showing the three brothers sitting on the side, right, and they ain't got no kind of urgency either. Like
mm-mm.
they ain't give a damn if they brother won either.
No, I
I
mean
mean,
nobody was excited on that side. Not
they're
one
like
person.
they're like,
It's
yeah, he
You
did
know
the
why,
same,
right?
y'all
just
just
like
knew he
I
was gonna
did.
lose. I
That's what
mean,
the dudes
No,
want.
you
The
know
other
why, right? Because they seen Canelo is obviously that much more talented than Callum Smith was ever going to be that night. Period. There could have been a game plan. I think there was a game plan for Callum Smith,
I'm not even
and it all
debating
went out.
that.
And it all went out the window.
I'm not even debating that. I'm saying you could be right. Maybe he is. Maybe he is so much more talented. But then why does this fight matter? Why is everybody like, oh, what an amazing win? No, it's not. It's not.
Okay,
He
okay.
beat nobody. Caleb
I'm
Smith beat
glad you
nobody.
said that.
He won. Yes, and everybody's like, oh, he just won a tournament. Name who he beat in the
Mhm.
tournament. Just because you win a tournament don't mean
I
shit to
said
me.
that. I said that. I was the
Yeah.
one that said that
Mhm.
that Super Series
Mhm.
Yeah.
tournament win was something significant.
But it's
But I
not.
didn't see that same person. But you're wrong. It is something. But I didn't see that same person that won that displaying the same activity and skills that he did in that Super Series. That's the problem. Is when you've seen somebody doing better, way better, and then you
Mhm.
see him in the ring just running around, staying close to the ring, so it's easy access to his body.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Like this
right.
wasn't making sense to me.
Right, Sakura, you're right, but it's easier to look better against no competition. I mean, like we were saying, he really hasn't beat anybody. He's beat Endom and he's beat Groves.
Yeah.
And so, in that Super 6,
Hmm.
who else did he beat? Does it matter? Probably not, cuz it's going to
So,
be really no competition anyway.
Right. I
so
mean, Groves got to him through Chris Eubanks Jr. So you know how it works in the tournaments. You feel like, so that's like the person that won also was better than Chris Eubanks Jr.
Mm.
Even though in this case in particular, I don't know if Smith would have had that same type of fight with a Eubanks Jr. had he won and moved up to face him. So like, you do that process where you're like, okay, so he must be Callum Smith is better than Eubanks Jr. because Groves beat him and then he fought Groves and beat his ass. So like that's the logic when you're doing the tournaments. But the thing that got me the most hot mad about this entire shenanigans is I ain't heard not the one first Canelo fan say what Rob had just said about Triple G. Oh, he didn't knock him out, right? You know what I'm saying? You had all these rounds to knock him out, and this and that, and then what? When it came time for
Shakur, it was
Canelo,
brutal. It was
no,
brutal.
but
It
when
was
it came
brutal.
time for Canelo, we're hearing like, oh, he was just that much more skilled than him. Oh, really? Well, I mean, I don't remember Callum being like, disoriented or about to like really
No.
lose
Yeah.
and get out like my man over there at Triple G fight. But you want to put all the onus on his performance, Triple G's performance, and none on Canelo's performance. If he's so much freaking better than Callum Smith, why the hell was he still hanging around in the 12th round with this man Canelo supposedly digging in his body and having them up on the ropes all 12 rounds?
See, and Canelo's not really a finisher. He never has been. People put him as this knockout artist and paint him in this picture that he's just not. I mean, yeah, he has a couple of good.
I mean, he's had some devastating knockouts. That's why.
Well, I mean, James Kirkland, okay.
Yes.
I mean, he got knocked out by Ashita, Amir Khan. I mean, he moved up 2 weights. So,
Yes.
yeah, you probably should. Now, the one that was big and devastating was Kovalev, okay?
Right.
I'll give him Kovalev. But everything else, I mean, you talk about when you step up. He didn't do that to Golovkin. He didn't do it to Trout. He didn't do it to Lara, okay? People have stopped Trout, no? Why didn't
I
Canelo?
mean, yes, that's
Why
true.
didn't Canelo? Look.
But Trout is a exception because he makes everybody look bad that he fights. Nobody comes out of a fight with him and looks like they're like, super good.
No, no, but
All right.
why are we
So
giving him so much credit? Why is the boxing world giving Canelo so much credit on a fight that not one person that I heard of has picked Caleb Smith to win? Okay, clearly he was the underdog and not expected to win in this fight in the first place. So if it's not competitive, why are we crowning this man? I don't understand it.
Because
I'm gonna tell
there's
you why.
Canelo fans that are super fans, and you can't tell them anything. Like I heard this one person. I'm not even gonna name who it was, but they were like using the excuse like, "Oh, some people they're so racist and they just don't want to give Canelo credit." And I was like, "Now wait a minute, hold on now. Like, I mean, I know that there are some racist people out here, of course. We all know that, and they pick and choose boxers." And who they're going to support based on complexions.
Against gingers?
That exists, right?
Let me stop. Let me stop.
Wait a minute, let me finish my
Hold on. No.
I told him, what I told him is like, wait a minute, now you got some people like myself, like, I like Canelo. I love, the work and the improvement that he's made since the Floyd Mayweather fight. But I see some stuff that is like very...
You don't. Let me ask you a question.
And I know damn well I ain't racist. So what are you talking about?
Oh,
you don't. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask both of y'all a question. What did you hate about Floyd Mayweather Jr.? What did you want to see every time about Floyd Mayweather Jr.? What was the biggest question about Floyd?
What still is with Canelo is mainly competition.
Could he lose? Could he lose? Because he was already depicted to win the fight before the fight even happened. So the biggest question was, could he lose? Like Louis said, aka competition. What's the biggest question about Canelo now that y'all are giving him? Competition. So that's why people think that there's a bias out there, because you're not seeing it for what it actually fucking is. The man is that much more talented than any of these fighters out there.
No, what you're not understanding is because people like you, Rob, are blind and very one-sided, okay? Who hasn't he beat? Who did he move up and run from? Charlos. There's multiple people still at 160 he didn't fight. And then he just jumps weight to avoid people, to get an easy belt, to get an achievement, to say, oh, now I have a belt in another division. And then he does it again, and then he does it again. Caleb Smith was a belt grab. That's all. That's all.
So here's the point, period, people. Point blank, period. I don't give a damn. You can't fight everybody. You can't. You can't fight everybody. If you beat the person that's in front of you 100% of the time, then you're a winner. You're a champion. You're the greatest fighter out there right now. You put together the fight. You beat everybody that's in front of you. And I don't care what you say. Whoever's in front of you,
has he, though?
whether it's a title shot or not.
Has he, though?
The record says he did.
Well,
besides Floyd Mayweather Jr.
That was not a straight answer.
Jr. The record says he did.
Laura, he did not win that fight with Laura. I don't give a damn what people say. He did not win that fight.
The record said it doesn't matter what y'all say. The record
you
said
in a bad
he
place
did.
when you want to just say the record said.
Yeah, he don't got no argument other than the record says.
There's no argument. There's no argument to be made.
It is an argument to be made.
The official record said he won.
When you start a point by saying, well, the record says that he is, that means that you really in your heart don't believe that he really won. You just want to go on what the record says.
It doesn't matter. The record said he won.
Okay, so do you think that Canelo tied with Floyd Mayweather? Do you think that should have been a draw? Because that's what it was scored.
From one person, the majority scored.
That's one.
The majority scored it for Floyd.
Okay, so do you think it was a majority decision?
Yes, because that's what the record said.
You a goddamn liar. You a damn liar. All right, let's talk pound for pound now, because he won.
Wait a minute, Lucas. One
That's
second.
exactly where
Can
I
I
was
just say
going
one
with
more thing,
next.
please, about this
Go ahead.
situation here? I don't like when people are trying to compare a Canelo with a Floyd Mayweather. I don't like that comparison at all because
Why?
while they're using a similar formula, what we had in a Mayweather is him fighting some real legitimate competition up to a certain point in his career when he could choose and be more favorable to himself. But with Canelo, it's like it's being groomed step by step from the beginning whom he's gonna be fighting. And they got mad at Andrade for saying, well, Golden Boy's done a great job moving him. They got
Hmm.
mad at Andrade when he said that. He's like, what do you
Hmm.
mean? He's like, well, he's done a good job at, picking the right opponents and stuff for them.
Hmm.
And the guy got upset. But the point is like, yeah, that's true from the beginning. Meanwhile, you had a Floyd that was fighting Corrales and Oscar De La Hoya. Like, these ain't these chump names. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was really fighting and
Hmm.
winning these fights. So, I mean, they want to. I don't really care for that comparison that a lot of people are making. I know y'all didn't really do it, but I have heard that several times. Like, oh, so if Floyd did that, well, didn't Floyd do such and such? I'm like, well, he did once he became Money Mayweather and he was able to, you know, influence his own career and make his own independent choices. But before that, to get to that level, he was fighting some serious competition. And
Yeah.
that's
You know what?
And
You know
another
what offsets that for me? Go ahead, Lucas. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say another thing that I don't like about the last two opponents, Kovalev, Caleb Smith. You give them 4 weeks notice. What's going on, man? Like, come on, have a regular training camp. Obviously, you're one of the best fighters. I'm not doubting that. But I'm doubting the way you're going about things. Don't try to get every single little advantage you can. Don't be draining people. Don't give them short camps. Don't give them short notice. Just fight regular, man. Why we got to do this shit? You know you're supposed to be number 1 pound for pound. Then fight like that. Don't shortchange people.
yes,
So
yes.
both of you have valid hater point of views. And the reason why I say that is because what offsets that is because his last two fights was a championship level fight at 175 and then back down to 168. And then guess what? He can go back down to 160 and fight Errol Spence if he wants to.
But
Oh,
he
but
won't.
guess what? But guess what? He can go back down to 154 and fight Bud if he wants to.
The hell he
That's what
can't.
that
This
he
man
No,
can't.
cannot make
no,
That
154.
I'm
no.
that's what offsets it for me. And that's what Floyd did. Was Floyd said I'm gonna compete at 154, 147, 140. Anywhere in between those weight classes, it doesn't matter to me. And that's what offsets it to me. Is
This
that you sit here. No, hold on. You guys sit here and hate on Canelo all you want
This
to for
nigga.
cherry picking and this and that. The man is fighting at 175. He's fighting at 168. He can fight at 160.
What are we
154 is
saying
debatable.
here?
I'll give you that.
We're
look.
saying that it's okay for him to have picked certain opponents his entire career because of the fact that he moved up towards the
And down.
years of
And
his
down.
career, right? Where he has no choice but to be at a certain weight. And the thing about it is, guys, while we're on this subject, I have seen a lot of social media pushback, and Paul himself, and I don't like bringing up YouTubers, but they were saying stuff about his Canelo's previous pads use and whether he looked like he was, souped up or not. And that is something that I want to talk about because I want to know. I mean, do you really think he's still doing that stuff, guys?
They do testing. They do testing. They would have found some now.
Did they
Man,
do
Go
no.
testing for
ahead.
this fight? I
No.
mean, I
They
don't remember hearing anything about any testing for this fight.
look, testing is so easy to get around and definitely easiest for the biggest moneymaker to get around. I mean, if Floyd getting out and pushing away jail time does not tell you about the shit that they will do, that's jail. I'm not talking about no damn boxing drug test that don't nobody really give a shit about. I'm talking about jail. I'm talking about you did a crime and they letting you postpone that shit. Look,
Right.
you bring in enough money, you can do whatever the hell you want, okay? People make
Mhm.
that test disappear. I'm not saying he's doing it or not doing it. I'm simply saying we will never know. The game's always rigged. And if the game ain't rigged that way, and yeah, it is, but if it's not rigged that way, everything else is up for discussion. The size of the ring, the date, who comes out first. All of that shit is now favored for Canelo. So no matter what, he already has several unfair advantages, and he will have several unfair advantages probably until he retires. That's just the way it goes.
That's what it is, but
Okay,
I
well,
mean,
I mean-
I'm not sure if he's doing that or not. I think that he just grew into his grown man body at this point.
He's been grown into his
He's
grown
no
man body
longer
because he's been
the
draining
boy
himself.
that was fighting Mayweather. He's grown into a full grown man body. So it's like, I mean, some of it could be or not be, but at the same time, I really just think he's like grown into his man body. But that Cole fight, questionable to me. The Give Me fight with Fielding, not feeling it. And now we have this other lackluster opponent, which we thought was going to give him some type of
right. You thought it was going to be competitive. So don't be mad when it's not.
Exactly. I thought it was going to be competitive because I thought that I was going to see the same fighter trying to win that was in his previous fights. So see, therefore,
he's not good enough.
You have the wrong impression. Another thing is, Lucas, why we gotta be haters? Because we can actually like a boxer, but see where there's some flaws and some things that people are like blind to and don't want to see. And that's not hater juice.
No,
I feel mad about the fact that he is able to beat most of these people at 168 and at 160, but yet and still we keep getting these BS ass fights where it's looking like, you know, the opponents are like easy pickings and don't even want to try to win because it's Canelo and we got paid a certain amount of money. Mm-hmm. Like, make it make sense, because this is not making sense to me.
I want
He's
to
that much better than him.
No, I want to get behind Canelo. I want to get behind him, but you can't tell me that this man struggles with Lara and then just goes in and knocks out Kovalev like nobody's business. Look, Angulo put Lara down. You're telling me Canelo can't handle him? Look, something's weird, okay? I want to get behind Canelo. I've been trying to get behind Canelo, okay? I've given him multiple chances. I was really excited about the Kovalev thing, but that whole thing came out smelling a little fishy. But I keep doing it, okay? I keep giving him the chance. The 154 thing, then it moved up to 155 for several fights. Then he started bringing up, you know, lower classmen to kick the shit out of and take advantage of. Look, you are, like I said, we already got so many unfair advantages, and now you can basically pick and choose what weight, how much time I'm going to give you to notify you for the fight. I just want somebody to be the head of boxing and do it in a graceful manner. This man has tested positive not once but twice, popped twice on tests. He should be doing 24/7 VADA drug testing. 24/7 365. He should be getting tested on Christmas if that's what they feel. And the point for that is to prove that he's a clean fighter, because right now nobody really honestly thinks that. Look at Tony Bellew's comments on Twitter basically saying something's a little funny. He's going up weight classes and still handling people like this.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't even see that one.
Yeah,
wow.
Tony Bellew commented that on Twitter. So, I mean, it is something that I think everybody's wondering and just like, man, how is this possible? But even in that fight, like I said, he looked good, obviously. I mean, he performed well. But again, my problem was it didn't seem like there was a game plan whatsoever. There was no holding, no attempt to fight at a distance except for like the first round, which is the only round I actually gave Caleb Smith. I just want to see an even playing field, but with Canelo, I don't think we're ever going to get this.
And you said the same thing with Floyd. And
that's also true. Floyd himself can't sit here and tell you that he didn't pick bigger rings so that he could move better. I mean, that helps him win, does it not? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you put him in with Maidana in a smaller ring, does that not give Maidana a better chance of winning? Yes, it does. But because he is not worth as much money, he does not get it. Simple fact. We need to make the United States needs to federalize the government here in the United States, because I'm sick of everything being up, even to the ref, on, everything's up for discussion, and who's going to be doing what, the ring size, the cup size, shit, everything. It's all fucking.
Not the cup size.
It's all negotiable. It is. It's all negotiable.
Well, shout out to Caleb Plant for not taking that fight on that short notice.
Yes, Caleb Plant's the only one. And people are downing Caleb Plant. So anybody that's out there that's doubting and downing him, talking shit about Caleb Plant, why? For being smart, not throwing away his career for some money? No, he's trying to build a career. He wants an actual fight that he can win. Canelo, give the man an actual, full 8 to 12 weeks, and maybe he can prepare correctly for the damn fight.
Yeah, and it's a unification bout, and it's a chance for Canelo to prove that he's not with these give me fights so much, and that he's willing to go in there and go to war.
We got to go on pound for pound.
So morphing into that then, with this performance that he put together on Saturday night, and with everything we're talking about, I kind of see where y'all are going, but I just want to know, where is Canelo out at on your pound for pound list?
Much as I don't want to say it, you got to put him number one. You can't put anybody else. And that's just based off my own way of doing pound for pound. Again, some people do pound for pound on what you think somebody can do, but I do what they've already proven. So he's already done, the more weight classes. He's already moved up. And honestly, the names he has on his current resume is just really better than anything Terrence Crawford or anybody else, for that matter, can put up.
Shakur?
Didn't see that coming, did you? Everybody got quiet.
Yeah, because I didn't know.
I did not see that coming.
Number one. I mean, you can't say all these things are wrong with these last 3 fights, and these are where he went up to fight.
Look, I mean, you can smell something fishy, but
say at the same time, well, I'm rewarding him with my number one pound for pound because he can move up. Like, okay.
Look, I mean, yes, obviously, like we were talking about, I already smelled something wrong, but at the same point, he got the win. Whether it was not even tried by the other guy or not, I can't prove it. So I got to assume that right now, Canelo's just that good, because I really don't have anything to say otherwise. And again, even before this fight, and even before the Kovalev fight, Canelo's resume is just deeper with the bigger names, and it's simply better than anything, again, Crawford can put up. I like Crawford. I think Crawford's a great fighter, but his resume is a little lackluster, let's be honest.
Okay, well, I have him at number 3. Recently, I actually bumped up Fury on my list. And then I also still have Bud as number 1. And then I do base mine differently, though, Lucas. I base mine on if everyone was the same size.
But that's what you believe. That's not what you've proven so far.
That's right. That's why, I mean, yeah, you're talking about what you do is a regular ranking. What I do is more of a pound for pound, where it's based on if everyone was the same size and who would you, and had the same skill sets, who would be who. So that's why I have him there. So I just don't think that many people out here, well, I don't feel like any boxer besides Bud has the level of, combined talent and skill and just overall, things that I like in a fighter. So for that reason, I do have Canelo at number 3 currently. And, I'm still kind of like fence with that performance. The other night proves that he's worthy of top 5 for me. So I'm kind of just like playing with this situation here right now. But I was talking to the Mayweather Promotions money team guy the other night. That's a promoter, and DC, and he puts Tank at number 1. He said,
obviously. And
I'm gonna tell you obviously. Why. The explanation that he gave me, and I let him get away with this, guys, because I was feeling a little tired that night. But he was saying that it's based on that he's the pay-per-view person, besides Canelo, he would be passing it on to Bud at this point as the pay-per-view king.
So
So I feel
so
that,
Gervonta only got 200,000. So I don't know
Yeah,
where the hell he's based, but
that's
two
not.
hundred and fifty
It ain't
thousand.
pay per
well, he
view
I don't know
also
king.
what the hell
said,
he's basing that
okay,
on.
I'll tell you why. Okay, just to be fair, he's not here. So he also stated that he's selling out stadiums in his last three fights. He sold out stadiums. So therefore he feels that that makes him on the pound for pound list. And I'm like, that's funny because I never even on my pound for pound list, it doesn't even come into play who builds arenas and who does, the pay-per-view numbers. Is that a category that you guys think that should be integrated into everything else that we use to delegate these rankings?
I can see it, but he didn't sell out the last stadium. It's COVID. You can't sell out a stadium
Well,
during
for what
COVID.
he was able to sell,
But
what
that doesn't matter.
the
That is
number of
COVID.
seats that they made available,
Yeah,
they
it's
sold them out.
COVID. It doesn't, to me, that doesn't count. I'm
But do
sorry.
you
No,
honestly think that he would be in Texas with a the full arena available
No,
and with a Mexican fighter
no,
in Santa Cruz and not fill up that stadium?
no.
no, I don't think he was
I
filled
do.
up
I
completely.
definitely feel like. I mean, I didn't say that they would be, but I didn't say that they would be Tank fans. I just said that that stadium would have been filled up.
Yeah,
No,
Those Mexicans do not play in Texas about their boxing.
I
That's
actually
why that's been a prime location for some of these matches right now.
I
I mean,
understand that.
that
Yeah,
was one of the
Go ahead.
better named pay per view events. So I mean, it was set up to succeed, and it's not just off Tank. That was off Leo Santa Cruz as well. If you try to put him in against somebody else, he ain't selling that much. I mean, let's face it. He's not Floyd Mayweather gonna sell a fight against Robert Guerrero. Nobody's gonna buy that shit. Okay, he's got to have strong opposition right now. Tank is definitely nowhere near number one.
and I think he will have.
Can't
I
even really put
honestly
him in the
do
top
feel
10.
like that he's gonna have some tough opposition at 130 and 120. I'm sorry, and 126. I think it is, or 128. I forgot what the difference in super featherweight and okay. I think at 130, which is super featherweight, he's gonna have some competition. And then I also think that he's gonna be doing fights at 135 because he has dual belts right now for two different divisions, remember? So I mean, I don't think it's a point of him like avoiding people. When you got that kind of power, it's like, yeah, bring him on. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So I don't
So,
think it'll be a situation where he's like avoiding certain fighters in that weight, in those weight classes.
so guys, let's talk about that really quick in terms of this star power with the new generation coming up and everything here. I find it very interesting at a DAZN event. We saw Errol Spence and then we saw Teofimo Lopez in the crowd.
Hmm.
And not only that, Teofimo was making his voice known, yelling out, "Tell Devin Haney or send the contract over to Eddie Hearn." He was telling Eddie Hearn, "If you want me to fight Devin Haney, send a contract over." I thought that was very interesting, guys.
No, I mean that was good. That's what's good for boxing. We need more stuff like that.
Hmm.
Cross promotion and DAZN didn't care. I mean, yeah, it's an ESPN fighter yelling shit out. I didn't. DAZN did not care. They gave him the mic. They wanted it, and I really appreciated that.
They
Absolutely.
interviewed Errol. Yeah.
True, both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was happy with both of them being able to be heard that night and call out who they were going to call out. And I found it interesting too that they were A, even there at that event, and B, were given the okay or the green light to call out other fighters from other promotional company, from a different promotional company. So I'm like happy with that. I hope we see more of that, and I hope it actually brings forth some actual great competitive fighting. This is what the sport needs.
That being said, guys, I don't know what Errol's smoking, where he thinks he can go up to fight Canelo at 160. So I want to know your thoughts if that fight can be made. But I really am interested in this Devin Haney Teofimo Lopez situation because I actually think that fight can definitely be made. What are your thoughts on those two fights?
Well, the fight for Errol Spence moving up just makes no sense to me whatsoever. Okay, there is no way in the hell that you're telling me that Canelo versus Spence is going to sell more than Canelo versus Golovkin 3. I call bullshit on that all damn day. This is an easy win for Canelo. That's the only reason he's dropping down to 160. And I don't mean any disrespect to Spence, but you jumping up 2 weight classes. Again, weight classes ain't nothing to play with. You can't just jump up like that. And you'd think Spence, over anybody, would have known that for Mikey Garcia jumping up to fight him. It does not carry over well. And it will not carry over for Spence. Spence is simply doing it because Canelo is a big lottery ticket. The same reason why people wanted to fight Mayweather. A lot of people went into fights against Canelo, and they're going to go into a fight against Mayweather, or vice versa, what I just said. But they went into these fights, not even expected to win. They just want the money. Some of them tried to win, a la Madonna, but some didn't. Some just wanted to coast. Some just wanted to go 12 rounds with the champ. Wanted to have the Rocky moment. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Errol Spence is a great fighter, but jumping 2 weight classes to beat the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world is not going to happen.
Now, what about Haney Lopez, Lucas?
Haney Lopez is tricky because of the whole, different promotions, different broadcasts too, but it can be made. It's just a bit more of a hassle and probably a bit down the road. Because right now, they both still building their resumes, building their careers up. So, just kind of like what did he say? Let it marinate.
I'm so sick of that word in boxing.
I hate it too. I hate it too. But I'm saying there has to be a higher demand to force the broadcasting and to force these promotions to come together.
Right.
Because right now, I'm afraid there's not enough meat on the bones for both of them to be doing it.
Yeah, I understand that, but it is 2 superstars in a division as in their respective divisions. My thing of it is that people want to jump up and they want to get this money from Canelo, and I'm like, yeah, get this money. You need to get it. But it makes me feel like now I'm thinking about things that I didn't think I would be thinking about right now with Spence, which is, damn, he really just want the money so he can cash out. Like, there's no let me go up here and get this money and with the weight and then come back to welterweight. You're not going back to welterweight, And I think the reason why he thinks he can successfully do 160 is probably because he was walking around at 160 at the beginning of COVID or, mid-COVID before he had to lose all of the weight to be back at 147. So, I mean, I can see why he's like, yeah, I still look good and I feel good at this weight. But my thing is also, does Canelo want to drop back down to even do that? Is it any benefit really in it for him? Because he can do this money grab with a couple of names, and not have to try to lose that additional weight to drop back down to the 160 zone. So,
I think
if you're going to drop down to 160 and you don't fight Charlo and you don't fight Andrade and you don't fight Triple G, now people are really going to be like, oh, come on, man, I'm done with Canelo. Like, they're going to be like, you drop back down and wait, they do a fight with Spence when you knew all of these other prize level middleweights were there for you to have fights for this entire time.
So Shakura.
But see, it makes sense.
It just makes no sense for Canelo to do it. I don't see the benefit in it for him.
But it does, because it's not Charlo. It's not a hard-fought 160-pounder. It's not a Golovkin that's going to try to take your head off all night. It's Spence who showed up for a paycheck. And it's Spence who's a name to add to your resume to say, I beat this guy.
But you can do it. I mean, but what I'm saying for Canelo, does he really want to drop down to 160? No. And if he does, what I'm saying is the rebuttal from fans is going to be, Well, if you're gonna drop back down to 160, why the hell you ain't face one of these other three guys that we've been waiting for you guys to face? Like, to me, it seems much easier for him to take another guy with a name, right, and not have to drop back down and wait, and also still get the name on his record. So, like, I just don't see that there's enough benefit in it for him to do all that. Like, the whole
So
point of being
Spence,
A side,
Spence,
B side is that all the advantages go to you. I don't want to. I mean, if I'm Canelo, I'm like, man, I'm not finna go all the way back down to 160 to face you when I can face this one, that one, this one, and this one and this one at my current weight. Or
so
I can have a
I
160
agree.
pounder go up and fight me at another catch weight. No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I agree, but Spence could offset that even by taking on one of those 160 pounders before he fights Canelo. Because
Well,
let's
he
face
tried
it,
at first and establish that he's tough at 160 before
right.
Canelo makes the investment of dropping down.
Then
Rob,
that would offset that.
Rob, I gotta ask you a
I
question
like it.
before I forget because I'm very absent-minded, my friend. I want to ask you if you think Golovkin goes up right now and fights Canelo Smith or Caleb Smith next. How do you think that fight ends? Can Golovkin get him out of there? Can he stop him?
No,
Do you think
not
he
at
looks
all.
better against him than Canelo?
No, no. I think Kellen will be able to get more shots off on him.
All right. We might see.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, based on the performance that we just saw, if he comes back and he looks like a monster in there with someone like a Triple G, I'm going to be looking at him even more suspect. Like what really went on in the Canelo fight.
I think Golovkin is slower, and here a few pointers right here. I think Golovkin is a little bit slower, and I think Caleb Smith gets off more shots, and therefore he can offset the workload. The other thing is you guys been talking all night about Canelo and how after Floyd Mayweather, after Kovalev, after all these fights, you act like he doesn't learn something. Guys, that head movement and that defense in that Caleb Smith fight was something I haven't seen from Canelo before. The way he was slipping those punches.
But they were all telegraphed. That's what you understand. He stayed right in front of him, and he really wasn't very quick. No, it's easy to look good against somebody who you can telegraph their punches. You can see everything coming.
But he didn't look that good against Angulo. Angulo was able to Angulo was able to play rock'em sock'em robots with Canelo.
No, Angulo didn't land very much, man. In fact, he looked better against Angulo. I think you need to go rewatch Angulo, Canelo.
Well, my thing is I actually said that Canelo has been learning and improved much since the Mayweather fight. I said that. I'm not disputing that. But you got to give people something to be able to compare his level to, right, with some real competitive opponent. We can't keep walking around here saying this man is a god, like y'all said about Lomachenko.
Even though he is.
And
even though he is what you tell me.
He is, but he never proves it. Is he really?
He
no,
proves it by beating everybody he faced.
Oh my Lord, I'm done.
I'm tired of that.
It's like the argument we have every time. But you know what, Rob?
Prove me wrong.
Came back today and fought Canelo.
Prove me wrong.
You know what would happen, Lucas? Rob would be the first one to be like, "Oh, Mayweather still wins. Mayweather wins."
Zabel says the head movement was nice. The footwork, on the other hand, ...
Okay.
Well, let's face it. He should have been turning Caleb Smith. He should have been doing something else, but instead it was basically, he was
happy with giving him punishment.
Caleb Smith helped him out. Who puts themselves against the ropes? Who
I was
does
about
that?
to say that. Like, that is not Canelo's fight. Like, because if somebody's gonna hang out on the ropes, I'm gonna be right there for it as a boxing, as a boxer. Like, you ain't gotta do it.
He caught Kirkland off the ropes. He caught Kirkland off the ropes.
Speaking of James Kirkland, he returns the 26th.
Yeah.
Fox Sports 1.
That's all. I mean, I just wish he wasted a lot of years and a lot of good years being non.
Well, we don't.
So I mean, we know what this is.
Mm.
This is him needing some money, so he has to do what he has to do. And I pray that he does not end up with something serious as far as, head trauma or something like that from trying to come back with too many years of inactivity.
Mm.
I don't see this ending well. I really don't. But I do want to send, I do hope that he's okay at the end of these fights that he has to do right now.
All right.
But damn, I really didn't want to see him
And
come
that
back. You know what I'm saying?
so
On that
so
level.
Shakira is not really excited, but I take it, Lucas, you are.
I'm always excited. I wanted to see the fight that never happened, Cotto Kirkland. You know, they had press conferences and everything already. I don't know if you guys remember that fight that almost happened. I think Kirkland would have knocked him out. Call me crazy. I think Kirkland would have knocked him out. That is also the fight that ended up Ali stepped in and Ali beat him. I think
Right.
Kirkland
Saddam
would have took
Ali,
him out.
yeah.
Time
Saddam
Ali.
Ali, yeah.
He's probably lucky that he took Ali and lost the way that he did because I think Kirkland might have stopped him.
I'm not
Just
even
my
sure that
crazy.
Kodo. I'm not even sure if Kodo really. I think it was
Otto
a. I
was
think it was
already
a choice.
retired.
Right. I think it was a choice mentally to pass the baton, as they say. But we was a world championship belt.
There
I
wasn't
really
no
do.
choice. You think he lost on purpose?
I don't think he lost on purpose, but I think his will and his psychological mentality at that point was, yeah, let me go ahead and finish up this fight. I'm already retired right after this. I got my money, my family. I'm happy. I don't have a need to be trying to go out here and prove that I can win this fight. I really do feel like that's what it was.
No, maybe.
All right. Well, guys, to wrap it up, we do have a fight coming the first of the year. So all our fans be on the lookout for in the next coming weeks for the show. Specialized because it's an important fight. It's New Blood, Ryan Garcia versus
Yeah.
Luke Campbell.
Hmm.
Okay, on January 2nd. Shakura, what's the word on the COVID situation? Because I know they had some little issues maybe with COVID
No, that was
creeping
old
in.
news. That was
It
old
was
news.
actually, yeah,
Yeah.
it was already rescheduled too. Well, it was Luke Campbell that had it, and then they took the fight from December 28th and moved it to January 2nd. So just a few, it's just like a week difference um in the
Gotcha.
fight. But it's
Okay.
and the thing of it is like I'm glad we're starting out our year with a fight like that. That's actually something that's where we're gonna find out what level. It's a huge step up for Ryan Garcia, in my opinion,
Very true.
and we're gonna see just how well he is, just how good he is with this fight. And I'm so excited for the kid. I really am. Like I'm just if he gets through,
Yeah.
and I like Luke Campbell, so if he gets through Luke Campbell, I don't want to hear shit about Ryan Garcia is not this and he's not that and he's not focused and he's not the boxer he should be and blah blah. He needs to stick to bottom. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody because they're gonna get cursed out by one Secor A.
All
Yep.
right.
That'll be our
So,
first. We'll be talking about the probably results of that on our first Tough Talk Tuesday of the year.
Yay!
gotcha. And last bit of comments that I had to make is we've been talking shit about DAZN and their promotion all night, probably all week. But the numbers for Joshua Pulev came out and they look pretty good.
Hmm.
So we really can't argue that. They were a little bit less of a mill, but they were probably one of the most viewed fights this, probably top five.
It would be number two, actually. I mean, just below Tyson, and Roy Jones Jr. got the most views,
Well, and
and
then Momo and
buys,
Tio,
Yeah.
buys. I mean,
Momo
yeah.
and Tio was up there too in views.
Joshua, yeah, he's a big seller.
All right, guys, that's
Okay.
all we have. That's all I have. Anybody have anything else before we go?
No, I just wanted to wish our fans a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. I just hope it's merry.
And I want to wish everyone a joyous holiday with your families. please hold them tight. Have a great time Christmas Day, and say a prayer for those that are missing loved ones this year. I also want to send out a great big hug to our boxing colleague guys, Stacks, out of California, who just lost his wife to COVID. So, wishing you much, much, much love, and hoping that the new year will be great with your angel that you now have.
Absolutely, and shout out to Anthony Saldana. His wife just died of COVID. That's sad to hear. He's big in the boxing community, so shout out to him. Aside from that, though, I'm wishing everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that good stuff. Don't drink too much. Y'all have a great night.
Come out 2021 with your hands up,